Hey, warriors. Most men lose power without realizing it. They speak too much. They react too quickly. They reveal their emotions before understanding the game. And because of this, they are read, predicted, and discarded. How to become unreadable in a world that feeds on your reactions. Power does not announce itself. It does not rush to explain, justify, or defend. Power waits. Power watches. Power allows others to reveal their intentions first. This is the essence of unreadability, and this is why it terrifies other men. From the moment you enter a room, people begin to assess you. They search your face for signals. They listen to your tone for weakness. They wait for emotional leaks that tell them how far they can push. Most men fail this test immediately. They talk too much, laugh too quickly, react too emotionally, or rush to prove who they are. In doing so, they hand over control before the game has even begun. An unreadable man does the opposite. He does not rush to define himself. He does not compete for attention. He understands that the less information he gives, the more power he holds. When others cannot predict your reactions, they cannot plan against you. When they cannot read your intentions, they hesitate, and hesitation is where dominance is born. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology named it. He knew that predictability is a liability. A prince who could be anticipated would be cornered, manipulated, or overthrown. But a prince whose thoughts were hidden remained untouchable. The same principle applies today, whether in leadership, conflict negotiation, or social hierarchy. Men fear uncertainty because it removes their advantage. When they cannot calculate you, they lose their sense of control. Unreadability shifts the psychological burden onto others. Instead of you trying to impress, explain, or persuade, they begin to work to understand you. Their minds fill the silence with assumptions. They project their own fears, ambitions, and insecurities onto you. And while they are busy guessing, you are observing. While they are revealing themselves through nervous talk or forced confidence, you remain still, collecting information. This is not about being silent for the sake of silence. It is about strategic restraint. Every word you speak becomes a data point others can use. Every emotional reaction becomes a lever they can pull. The unreadable man understands that information is currency, and he does not spend it cheaply. He speaks when it benefits him, not when it comforts others. Notice how quickly people become uneasy when they cannot read you. They repeat themselves. They over-explain. They test you with jokes, provocations, or subtle insults just to see a reaction. This discomfort is not accidental. It is the mind struggling to regain certainty. And when certainty is gone, authority shifts. An unreadable presence forces others to slow down. They second-guess their words. They become cautious with their moves. They sense that they are dealing with someone who is not easily influenced. This is why unreadability is often mistaken for confidence, intelligence, or power, even when no words have been spoken. Mystery creates weight. Silence creates gravity. In a world where men expose themselves emotionally, digitally, and socially without restraint, unreadability becomes a rare and intimidating skill. It signals discipline. It signals self-mastery. It signals that you are not driven by impulse or the need for validation. And nothing unsettles other men more than realizing they are facing someone whose inner world they cannot access. When you cannot be read, you cannot be rushed. When you cannot be rushed, you cannot be controlled. When you cannot be controlled, you occupy a position of quiet dominance that requires no explanation, no approval, and no performance. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the presence of control. Most men misunderstand silence because they associate strength with assertion and dominance with speech. They believe that to lead, to win, or to command respect, they must constantly express themselves. Machiavelli would have warned them otherwise. He understood that every word spoken is a window opened, and every window allows others to look inside. When you remain silent, you deny access. You offer no clues to your intentions, no emotional signals to exploit, no verbal commitments to be twisted. Silence protects you, but more importantly, it disarms others. In moments of silence, people feel exposed. The human mind is deeply uncomfortable with emptiness, and it rushes to fill it. That is when men begin to talk too much. Watch carefully what happens when you do not respond immediately. The other person continues speaking. They elaborate, they justify, they reveal motives that were never asked for. Silence applies pressure without aggression. It forces others to negotiate against themselves. While they attempt to regain balance, they surrender information they would have otherwise guarded. Machiavelli recognized that rulers who spoke too freely lost their advantage. Promises became chains, explanations became weaknesses. Silence, on the other hand, preserved flexibility. When you say less, you are never trapped by your own words. When you say nothing, you remain free to act in multiple directions while others commit to one. Silence also alters the power dynamic in conversation. The man who speaks the most is often the one seeking approval. The man who speaks last controls the frame. By delaying your response, you force others to adapt to you. They wait, they wonder, they adjust their behavior in an attempt to gain your reaction. This subtle reversal is rarely noticed, yet deeply felt. In social encounters, silence creates hierarchy. Men who are insecure rush to fill space with noise. Men who are uncertain explain themselves excessively. But the man who is comfortable with silence signals that he does not need to convince anyone of his worth. His calm suggests inner authority. His restraint suggests experience. Others sense this instinctively, even if they cannot articulate why. Silence is also a test. When you withhold your reaction, you see who becomes respectful and who becomes aggressive. You observe who grows anxious and who grows composed. These reactions reveal character far more accurately than words ever could. Silence turns every interaction into an examination where others unknowingly reveal their strengths, weaknesses, and intentions. In conflict, silence is especially powerful. When attacked verbally, most men defend themselves immediately. They explain, justify, and emotionally react. In doing so, they validate the attack. Silence, however, creates doubt. It forces the aggressor to question their own position. Was the attack effective, or did it miss the mark entirely? The absence of reaction destabilizes them more than confrontation ever could. Silence also prevents manipulation. Manipulators rely on emotional feedback. They probe, provoke, and push until they find a response they can exploit. When silence meets their attempts, they are left guessing. Without emotional data, they lose direction. Their influence weakens, their confidence erodes. To master silence is not to withdraw from the world, it is to engage on your own terms. You listen without revealing, you observe without committing, you allow others to expose themselves while you remain centered and unread. In silence you gain clarity, in silence you gain leverage, in silence you gather more than you ever give. Men are trained, consciously or not, to read each other emotionally. A raised eyebrow, a tightened jaw, a sudden shift in tone. These signals tell them where they stand and how far they can go. Emotional reactions are shortcuts to power. When a man can trigger you, he believes he can control you. This is why emotional opacity, the ability to conceal inner reactions, creates such deep intimidation. Most men leak emotion constantly. They show irritation when challenged, excitement when praised, insecurity when ignored. These reactions are not harmless. They become instructions. They teach others how to influence you. Machiavelli understood that a man who reveals his emotional responses gives away the keys to his own manipulation. Control begins with self-control, and self-control begins with what you refuse to show. An emotionally opaque man does not deny his feelings. He masters them. He experiences anger without displaying it. He acknowledges pressure without reflecting it outward. This restraint creates uncertainty. Others cannot tell if they have succeeded or failed in provoking him. They cannot measure the impact of their words or actions. And when feedback disappears, so does their confidence. This is where intimidation begins. Intimidation does not require aggression. It requires imbalance. When one man is emotionally exposed and the other is unreadable, the exposed man feels naked. He senses that the exchange is unequal. He knows he is revealing more than he is receiving. This realization produces discomfort, caution, and often fear. Emotional opacity also disrupts dominance games. Many men rely on emotional escalation to assert superiority. They raise their voice, display anger, or exaggerate confidence to overwhelm others. These tactics fail against someone who remains calm and expressionless. The lack of reaction deprives the aggressor of momentum. Their energy has nowhere to land. Their performance feels hollow. In negotiation and conflict, emotional opacity becomes a strategic advantage. When you show eagerness, others raise the price. When you show frustration, others delay. When you show fear, others press harder. The man who shows nothing gives nothing to exploit. His neutral expression forces others to operate in uncertainty, making them more likely to concede or reveal their true position. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear calm in moments of crisis, not because they felt no fear, but because fear shown spreads panic. The same applies at the personal level. Emotional opacity stabilizes your presence. It signals that you are not ruled by impulse or external pressure. Others interpret this as strength, whether consciously or instinctively. There is also a deeper psychological effect. Humans mirror emotion. When they cannot mirror yours, they lose rhythm. Conversation becomes uneven. Interaction feels off balance. The emotionally opaque man sets the tempo, while others struggle to align. This asymmetry places him in a position of control without effort or confrontation. Emotional opacity is not cruelty, it is sovereignty. It is the refusal to allow others access to your internal state without permission. It is choosing when to reveal warmth and when to withhold it. This selective expression increases the value of your reactions. When you do respond emotionally, it carries weight because it is rare. Men fear what they cannot influence. They fear what does not react as expected. Emotional opacity removes predictability, and predictability is the foundation of manipulation. When your emotions remain your own, unseen and unclaimed by others, you occupy a psychological position that few can challenge and fewer can dominate. Every interaction between men is a silent negotiation over narrative. Who is confident, who is uncertain, who leads, who follows. Most men lose this negotiation without realizing it because they rush to explain themselves. They clarify intentions that were never questioned. They defend positions that were never attacked. In doing so, they surrender the power to define the story. Machiavelli understood that the man who explains himself places himself beneath judgment. Explanation invites evaluation, and evaluation invites dominance. When you reveal nothing, you deny others the authority to assess you. You remain undefined, and what is undefined cannot be easily controlled. Narratives are built from fragments, a gesture, a word, a reaction. When you offer fragments freely, others assemble them into conclusions that may or may not serve you. When you offer nothing, others are forced to invent the story themselves. This is where power quietly shifts. People project meaning onto silence. They assume depth where there may be restraint. They assume strategy where there may be patience. And these assumptions often work in your favor. By revealing nothing, you allow others to fill the vacuum with their own beliefs. A man who feels insecure may interpret your silence as superiority. A man who seeks dominance may perceive it as quiet resistance. A man who values status may assume you possess it. In every case, their interpretation reveals more about them than about you, while shaping the narrative in ways you did not have to manage directly. Control of the narrative does not mean manipulation through lies. It means refusing unnecessary truth. Not every thought needs expression. Not every intention needs explanation. When you speak only when necessary, your words gain gravity. They land heavier because used they are rare. Others listen more closely because they are unsure when you will speak again. In social and professional settings, men often attempt to control perception through constant communication. They update, clarify, and reassure in an attempt to stay visible. The unreadable man remains visible without speaking. His presence alone generates curiosity. Curiosity becomes attention. Attention becomes influence, all without revealing his internal position. Machiavelli advised rulers to let others argue while they listened. The one who speaks the least in a discussion often emerges with the most leverage, while others commit to opinions, emotions, and positions. The silent observer remains unbound. When the moment comes to act or speak, he does so with maximum flexibility. Revealing nothing also protects you from misinterpretation. When you explain yourself, you give others material to distort. Words can be quoted out of context. Emotions can be framed as weakness. Silence cannot be twisted. It cannot be used against you. It leaves no evidence and creates no obligation. This is why men become uneasy around those who do not explain themselves. They feel excluded from the narrative. They sense that decisions are being made without their participation. This discomfort often leads them to overcompensate, revealing their priorities and fears in an attempt to regain relevance. The man who reveals nothing gains insight without effort. Control of the narrative ultimately means control of timing. You decide when to speak, when to act, and when to remain still. Others react to your absence of information while you observe their reactions to it. This asymmetry places you at the center of the psychological exchange, not as a performer, but as the one who quietly dictates the flow and direction of the encounter. Power does not come from being understood. It comes from being uncontainable. The modern world encourages men to reveal everything: thoughts, emotions, intentions, weaknesses, under the illusion that transparency creates connection. Machiavelli would have seen this as a strategic error. What is exposed can be measured, what is measured can be controlled, and what is controlled no longer holds power. The unreadable man moves differently. He is not louder than others, yet his presence is felt. He does not dominate conversations, yet he shapes outcomes. He does not seek attention, yet attention finds him. This is not charisma built on performance. This is authority built on restraint. By refusing to be predictable, he avoids manipulation. By mastering silence, he gathers information while giving none. By concealing emotion, he removes the levers others depend on to influence him. By revealing nothing unnecessary, he allows others to construct narratives that often elevate him beyond his words. Other men sense this imbalance immediately. They feel it in conversations that slow down, in confrontations that lose momentum, in exchanges where they reveal more than they intended. They may not understand why, but they recognize they are dealing with someone who cannot be rushed, pressured, or read. This is why unreadability terrifies. It offers no access point, no weakness to exploit, no reaction to feed on. It forces others to face their own uncertainty, and uncertainty is where confidence collapses. Machiavelli did not teach men to be cruel. He taught them to be sovereign, to rule themselves before attempting to rule circumstances. The power of being unreadable is not deception, it is discipline. It is choosing when to speak and when to remain still, when to reveal and when to withhold, when to act and when to let others expose themselves. In a world addicted to expression, the man who practices restraint becomes rare, and rarity creates value. When you are no longer easily understood, you are no longer easily dismissed. When you cannot be read, you cannot be anticipated, and when you cannot be anticipated, you quietly step into a position of power that requires no announcement and no permission.